Hey guys, Zane Hind here from the Nexus Schoolhouse, bringing you a very special video of Overexplained. Today, we are going to be looking at the first 5 minutes of Tomb of the Spider Queen. The first couple of minutes of a game are generally the ones that will contribute to your victory the most, because if you can get those just perfect, you guarantee you're winning. Now, you might notice something special about this game, and that is we are playing main tank Dehaka. When Dehaka first got reworked way back in the day to have enhanced agility, I thought this talent would make it possible for him to tank on this map simply because it would allow you to rotate so quickly. But what I discovered is that because this is a questing talent, because it doesn't really power up until the late game, you're actually better off just with the default move speed that you get from entering into a bush, which gives you 20% move speed while in a bush and for 2 seconds after leaving. That allows you to pretty much goaltend the top turn-in perfectly, because you constantly have move speed that allows you to get to and from danger, allows you to rotate into the wave to pick up those gems, and those are really the two jobs of a main tank, right? Pick up the gems and guard the turn-ins. As long as you can achieve those two things, you're in a fantastic position, and Dehaka has a variety of tools that allow you to do that very, very efficiently. Number one, he has his E, which is a defensive that protects you from predictable AoE abilities or stuns, such as Muradin's Q or Johanna's Condemn. Number two, he's got the W. The W does AoE damage, which allows you to finish the backline minions and pick up the gems. Number three, and this is really important, he has threat in the form of his Q. If a tank does not have threat, it is not a tank, it is just a target. At the point where a tank picks up threats, such as a Stitches who's good at hitting hooks, notice I said good at hitting hooks. You have to have that part. It's very important. Then a Stitches is absolutely terrifying. Go watch JPL play Stitches sometimes and tell me that that would be easy to play into, when at any point in time you could possibly just be grabbed and pulled to the other side of the map, versus your average gold Stitches, who is probably only hitting Ws and never hitting Qs, right? There's a massive difference in the level of threat between those two heroes. Now right here we've got a couple of benefits to the style that we're playing in, and the reason I was able to pick Dehaka here was not because I was partied up with any of these individuals, although that would be a reason to make it viable, but it's actually because R2G2 is a Ragnaros one trick who I know is going to efficiently clear the wave because I know he's competent, and he also happens to be in my chat right now. Hello, R2. Number two, I know Koinazar is a one trick on Gul'dan, and even though I don't agree with his build and quite frequently his play, I do know that he's going to press Q on the wave. And because I have two heroes with efficient wave clear, I just have to pick a main tank that has the ability to pick up the gems and guard my team and have some threat. Dehaka fills every single box that we just laid out, basically. Right here, I'm going to have a follow-up stun onto the enemy Muradin. My Uther pressed E, so I'm just going to follow up no matter what the target is. He could stun the tankiest thing in the world. I would still follow up in this situation because it's a free Q, and that forces the enemy team to respond. At this point in time, we are 30 seconds into the match. I've been talking for probably 3 minutes, and we are incredibly far ahead of the enemy team. They have barely started clearing this mid wave. We are already heading top. And this is really the value of early game on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and why it is so gosh darn important that you have wave clear that is efficient at clearing the wave right at level 1. Sylvanas is not going to pick up her wave clear till level 4. By then, we are hopefully going to have ended the game, because by level 4, we're going to put ourselves so far ahead that the only way for us to lose is to make mistakes. If you are in situations where the only way for you to lose is to make a mistake, that is a pretty good situation to be in, because it means you are in control of your fate. You're not praying for the rest of your team to succeed, right? And there are 3 ways you can do this. Number one, you need to understand the tool that you are picking. Number 2, you need to pick it in the right situation. And number 3, you need to be able to play it well. Now, R2D2 is a one trick on Ragnaros, right? He one tricks his hero. He understands it perfectly inside and out. He's removed step 1 of this process. He doesn't have to know where the tool is good because he knows he's going to pick this tool in every situation because he's one tricking. That also removes part 2. So one tricking allows you to skip 2 out of 3 steps of being good at the game. That is an incredibly valuable skill, and you should be utilizing this if you're trying to improve. Yes, it will be a downturn in the long run, but it will give you advantages to learning the game in the short term in the form of consistency. And then you only have to worry about number 3, which is being good at the hero. Eventually, you will get good at the hero as long as you play frequently and learn from your mistakes. Now, we're going to move on to wave number 2 of the game. As you can see at this point in time, R2G2 elected to mount up and rotate around the far outside. So so he wasn't involved in this skirmish in the middle where I ate that stun from the enemy Muradin. At this point in time, I was slightly worried that my Uther was going to get followed by the enemy team, but Muradin doesn't opt for the E, which he would have needed to body block him in. I do turn around here very quickly, thinking that he's getting got on, but he has the armor, he's got everything, he's perfectly safe. And as you can see, the enemy team is wasting time trying to clear this wave, which they can barely clear. They have to involve their Malfurion and their Muradin in clearing waves because they don't have any wave clear. And at this point in time, the enemy top wave is already crashing into their gate. They haven't even finished the first wave. Look at how far ahead we are. Look at what a great position we're in. I can actually walk around the left side and just look at the enemy team and threaten them because they are so far off base and so caught off guard. Right here, we're able to find a fantastic rotation into the enemy team, and we're just going to E to dodge all of this damage, and then we're simply going to back away. The enemy team has now wasted an additional 10 seconds looking at me instead of rotating top. They've actually dropped 3 minions, and you can see from the EXP that we are far, far ahead, and they have barely even managed to begin their rotation into top. This is a fantastic position, and I want you guys to put yourselves in these winning positions by knowing what you're going to do for the first few minutes of the game. Now, at this point in time, we're going to rotate into the mid. We're going to try to find our next wave cleared out. The enemy team has missed the entire top. Our 2G2 is going to find the initial wave clear on the enemy wave, and I'm going to follow up with a W, and I'm going to go pick up the gems. Great! We found everything we wanted. Rotate out, go to top, do the exact same thing. This is a pretty boring pattern, but the reason it's interesting is because the entire time I'm also hunting for Qs. I want to try to find a stun, and there I eat one. I'm trying to find my own stun, rather, on the enemy team. I want to find a drag and potentially deal some good damage. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to use my move speed coming in and out of brushes and try to look for a drag here or here. If the enemy team is aware of that, they can play around it, but the enemy team isn't. So this is the difference between competitive and SL. The enemy team doesn't understand the composition, so they can't play around the correct things. Right here, the Sylvanas is actively looking for damage on my team, and that is not allowed. If we see from the enemy vision, we can see she has no control over this bush because her Muradin went safe, so she has no idea what's in here, but she runs the assumption that it's safe. She's wrong, and I'm going to punish her pretty immediately. I thought my Uther was going to initiate with a stun there, so I grabbed immediately, but he's actually going to follow up instead. That worked perfectly fine. I've grabbed her, I pull her backwards and into my team, and at this point she's 100% dead. Nothing in the world will save her there besides a Medivh, which is part of the reason why he's so broken. I hate that hero, please nerf him. Rotating into top is pretty efficient right here. R2G2 is able to find the follow-up. Gul'dan overextends a little bit, but he trades for the enemy damage, and we're still able to clear the waves, so it really doesn't matter. The fact that I'm playing with a very proficient Ragnaros player makes this game infinitely easier because he's focusing on the waves, he's getting the rotations, and he's ensuring that everything that needs to be done for us to win the game is being done, so all I have to do is actually play the part of the tank. Now, at this point in time, we found 2 kills, and I'm thinking it's time to use my Z. So I rotate into bottom with my Z, and I'm going to look for one of 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to look to try to kill the enemy offlaner. In this situation, it's a Hogger, so that's never happening because he has his E. So we're going to do the next best thing, which is we're going to go bottom and take the siege camp. I'm going to ping this so my Rexxar knows to take it, and then the Hogger is going to invade. Here's the thing about Hogger invading a point. He doesn't stay on the point 100% of the time. So as long as you do, you will eventually cap the thing. Secondly, he takes a lot of damage from range heroes while trying to do this, and Rexxar is a ranged hero. So we're just going to stand on the point, pop my D, and I'm just going to let him bounce back and forth while he takes a butt ton of damage from everything here and eventually dies. Fantastic, we managed to get the kill. That was almost a perfectly timed bounce by him had somebody rotated in to help him, but his entire team was dead, so they couldn't really do that. We're going to deny his gems, which is fantastic for our economy. And now look at what state we are in the game. We are 2 minutes and 16 seconds in. We're a full minute up. We're a camp up. We're an objective up by virtue of having gems when they don't. And we're up on every single wave on the map. The enemy team just respawned. Zul'jin just arrived at the mid. Sylvanas is rotating into bot for some reason, which she shouldn't be doing, but I guess she might have been responding to the Hogger calling for aid. Not quite sure what her motivation was there. Either way, we're able to find the initial stun with the Uther, the second stun with the Rexxar, and the final stun with myself. That is a 4-second CC train with basic abilities. You want to know what other MOBAs call that? An ultimate. That's a really good play for us right there, and a fantastic additional kill. And at this point, we're just chaining kills, right? We are firmly in the driver's seat. We are winning this game in every single way imaginable, and we're doing fantastic. And this is what I want you to be able to understand. I want you to understand, how do I win the early game on every single map, in every single situation, on every single hero? Now, that would be perfection. That would be knowing absolutely everything. At that point, you'd be Wubby or, you know, Noblesse from Korea. You'd be one of the best players ever seen in the game. But all we can opt to do is try to understand our small slice of the game. And in this case, my small slice is that of the Ragnaros one trick. This game is less about me as a Dehaka main tank and more about this Ragnaros, because this Ragnaros is the one who's fueling the rest of this game. All I have to do is the easy job of being a good tank, and because I know how to do that because of competitive and because of playing a lot, this is a very easy game for me. Putting yourself in a situation where the game is going to be easy because of your teammates is only possible if you're partying up with people or if you get extremely lucky. You need to party up with a competent DPS in order for this to be guaranteed, or you need to be that DPS yourself. Similarly, if you're going to play a dive hero such as Genji or Illidan, in order for you to effectively dive, you need to have a support that you can trust who can enable your dive, such as a Brightwing teleporting in and giving you a heal and then blinking out, or an Uther who can throw a D-shield on you, or such forth. Basically, the point is, find a friend as fast as you can. If you can't find a friend, head on over to the Nexus Schoolhouse Discord, because we've got plenty of them for you to make there. We have an LFG channel that is very active. Now, at this point in time, we're going to turn in our gems as quick as we can. The enemy team is going to try to stop us, but they can't. They find a kill on Gul'dan over here, I believe. Doesn't matter too much because he wasn't really doing much anyway. We're going to find damage. He's going to find the suck, so he's able to survive. Fantastic. R2G2 has finished off that mid wave. We're rotating back into the top side right here. And at this point, our job is done. We are effectively a full level ahead. It is minute 3 of the game. The enemy team is behind on gems. They're behind on turn-in. They've gotten ahead on this bruiser camp, but we're going to be able to match with my Ragnaros picking up our bruiser camp, and our bruiser camp is going to get more value because theirs is going to get frozen right in front of our gate by our wave, and thus is going to eat a bunch of tower shots and not really do much. Ours is going to push with a minion wave and take this wall. We're going to clear up. We're going to drag one minion into our towers. No reason not to use the drag if you don't expect to use it for the next 15 seconds. And I don't expect to use it because my DPS are nowhere near me. I'm just going to clear this wave out as effectively as I can. I'm going to pop my D here in order to protect myself just a little bit. Incorrect. I do not pop my D there. I don't feel threatened enough to. And we're just going to clear this out. At this point in time, I'm going to opt to take my tap and then go help finish this bruiser camp. I knew my Ragnaros would take a butt ton of damage doing this, so I know at some point in time I need to rotate to this camp, which is one of the reasons I stayed very close to this gate. And secondly, so that I could protect this camp in case it got invaded through this direction by the Hogger, which is unlikely, but possible. Finally, we're going to finish up this bruiser camp. We're going to give it the cap, and then we're going to rotate back into mid. You can see the Ragnaros is gone, so the middle wave isn't being taken care of immediately. My Gul'dan is launching Qs into a blank bush instead of clearing the wave. You'll love to see it. I'm going to step forward, press W on this wave, look to clear it out, pop my D, heal myself up, and you can see what the difference is between having an effective DPS and having an ineffective one right here. I had to take all of this damage and pop my D and my defensive in order for me to pick up that wave when I could have just picked it up and walked off. This is the difference between having a competent DPS and having an incompetent one, is your ability to be safe as a tank and take reduced damage from stepping up. This is the same in competitive, by the way. This is the exact same setup. If I had a competitive team, I would want my DPS to be someone who can back me up in situations where I feel like I have to play aggressive, because then I know that I can play aggressive without being over-punished. Right here, our Rexer is going to find the bottom turn-in, and we're actually able to turn in all of our gems and find ourselves a turn-in. Great. We're at minute 5, and that is the end of the video. All I wanted to do today was demonstrate what it takes to get to a first turn-in and what you need to do in order to be efficient at your first turn-in. I hope you guys learned a lot from this. I hope you found it valuable, but the point is, at the end of the day, waves are king. They are your priority in every single situation. If you guys enjoyed this content, feel free to head on over to the Patreon at Nexus Schoolhouse. You can support us and support the channel, or you can throw $15 our way and find yourself with 2 coaching sessions. Otherwise, guys, that's been it for me. Take care, have a good day, and we'll see you in the Nexus.